1.
Great. Welcome to the Templeton Advisory Committee meeting, October 30th, 2023, here on this fantastic Monday before Halloween here at 06:30. Well, 6:30, I should say. 1800 hours. Just so we're aware, the Templeton Advisory Committee regular business meeting is being broadcasted live on TCTV Channel 8 and the TCTV YouTube channel. Responses will be made to comments on the TC YouTube channel as time permits. The agenda and meeting material for this business meeting were posted to My Town Government no later than 48 hours prior to the scheduled meeting in accordance with Commonwealth of Massachusetts Open Meeting Law. The chair reserves the right to add items or to remove items from or change the order of the agenda. However, the agenda is posted in advance to give the committee and the public time to review the agenda items and to ensure the meeting runs within the allotted time frame. And again, thank you so much. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Again, I'm John Kaplan. I'm the chair. I'm here alongside Noel Francis, who's the vice chair, and our admin person, which is Mike Uberod. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome. Hopefully this will be as informative for the public as it is for us to discuss these items that are going forward to either the select board or other avenues for recommendations moving forward. Minutes for 9/20/23.
A couple of misspellings and then
Excellent.
to be corrected.
Absolutely. We'll send them out. Your names?
It's with the discussion of Friends of the Elders.
Okay.
Donna Sands, her last name is spelled S-A-N-S.
S-A-N-S.
not
No,
S-A-
S-A-N-D.
No.
Okay, S-A-N-S. Did you get that? Okay.
Yep.
And then Gail Noel, her last name is spelled N-O-E-L.
No, L-E. It's on L.
How do you spell it?
N-O-E-L.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh.
Yeah, her name appears in item L1 for Noel and item L3.
Yeah.
And also, who's present? I noticed it's spelled wrong.
John. Item E.
Item 8.
E.
E.
Discussion, the discussion point number 1 is the veteran service, SERVIS.
Yes.
Is there a
Yes.
spell check?
Pat, did you run? Thank you.
Stupid computer.
It's
I would have been proud.
it's IA. It's out of that artificial intelligence thing.
Yes. It tells you what you want
It
to
tells you
write,
what you want to say.
not what you want to say.
You gotta love it. I think that was it. It's on my highlights.
Brief and to the point.
Okay. I can entertain a motion to accept these minutes with obviously those changes with the misspellings.
Yeah, with amendments. Yeah.
With amendments. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 20th meeting as corrected.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Have any discussion? Anything online? If there's questions that come up, can you just let me know? Thank you. I don't see any discussion. I don't see any discussion. Mike, how do you vote?
Yes.
No, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. All right, new business. We'll talk about the budget versus actual for August. Did everybody get a chance to see that? Yeah. Obviously, it's been off for a little while.
the one was one item that a resident had brought up,
Yes, send it.
about why, free cash is being used, in the opioid stabilization account.
Mhm.
The explanation for that, I did make an inquiry of the town manager, and the explanation for that is that the state apparently gave the town money
Mhm.
for the opioid stabilization account was activated after the town meeting warrant article number 33 was passed at the May annual town meeting. So the money was held in free cash. The resident asked about that.
Right.
Then the money was placed into the opioid stabilization account.
Okay.
I did have a chance to look at it. Seems to be pretty much in line. Except, that one item the resident had a question about. I don't really have any questions. I know the one thing that seems to come up are old accounts that seem to hang around forever. We brought that up many times before.
And we'll continue to bring it up. So the select board know that we still have visibility and we're not.
Keeps it on the radar.
Yeah, it keeps it on the radar, so they know what we see, what needs to hopefully be corrected down the road, and utilized or moved or closed or what have you, because they are the authority to do that, along with the people, obviously, during town meeting, because that's why we have town meeting. But I mean, I don't know if the people know, but a lot of money comes in from the state, such as like veterans, returns for the percentage of, that we get back from the money that the town spends out for veterans, or tickets, or any type of, the meals tax. All that comes into, all goes into one pot. And then the account moves that, when it comes in, we're notified, obviously, and the account's supposed to move it to wherever account it's supposed to go to, but it's all in one pot. It's just on paper that it has all these different accounts, because that's how we keep track of everything, looking at a municipal, accounting, which I am not an expert by no means. I am still learning myself, and I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I'm learning every day. I don't like you. Do you have any? I mean, I know we've talked about it time and time again, and when I first came to town, and when I started doing politics back in the day in 2016, we had like 27 bank accounts in this town, 27, and obviously, that shrunk rather drastically to, I think we got like 7 or 8 now. And a lot of the accounts were merged and transfers happened in the whole 9 yards. But anyways, municipal finance is challenging enough as it is, but most of that dollars goes back into the big pot. And if it's not moved, or it doesn't get moved in a according to the bylaws of the law, it shows up as free cash at the end of the year. That's what, same with dollars that aren't used in the previous year that roll into the next fiscal year. They go also into the free cash bucket as well. Until, money is then moved during town meeting. Anyway, hope that explains a little bit. Again, I'm still learning this. Okay, so I can entertain a motion to accept the budget as actual
Well, I guess
for August.
so. Moved.
Motion to have a second? Second. A motion second. Any other discussion concerning the August budget for action? I see none. Mike?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Now, the action on the budget versus action for September, obviously, we do not have that, so that will be moved to one of our next meetings that we're gonna have. I'm not sure when that's gonna be.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I would point out that it is August 30th,
October 30th.
October 30th. I'm sorry.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
I knew, because Halloween's tomorrow. You're right, it is October 30th, and it's we have to come to something with the town administrator, because that's I know stuff happens, and
It's no longer the exception to the rule.
right.
I would ask that this be placed on the agenda, time lag, be placed on the agenda.
On the 7th, next.
I would say down the road, because we have a big town meeting on our 7th.
Okay, all right, well, we haven't voted on that yet. That was just a stakeholder preliminary hold day. Because that's the day that was available, but obviously we have to book on tonight to make sure that that's gonna lock that day in, okay? But I will definitely put the time leg on the agenda for the next business meeting that we have concerning you know, there should be some type of policy in effect of when it should be done by a reasonable amount of time, you know, I mean, 10 days, 14 days, whatever it's gonna be. But again, we can talk more about that, Joe. Some suggestions for the select board to recommend for those.
Thank you.
Yep, roger that. Discussion on the bylaw change. But before we go into that, I'm gonna use my chair authority to move. Kevin, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. And my colleague Ken Lombardi is with us as well.
Excellent, excellent. You guys are, where are you guys?
Okay,
K, you guys are letter K. For those who are at home, it's letter K. We're gonna move K up a little bit. Because these gentlemen took their time tonight to help us and help the people explain, you know, our thoughts going forward with you know, the self-insurance that we went to Money Tech and discovered, to try to see if we can potentially save any money. So basically what we did was we went to Money Tech, and they've been self-insured since the school came into existence for medical and dental. And they've been rolling along, and basically what they were paying and saving was, compared to what we were spending, was drastically different. I mean, drastically different. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars difference. Now we know that with anything like that, there's risks, and we looked at the risks as well. Because it only takes one, you know, person to have a claim that's going to be catastrophic, and it can pretty much drain the account. But I wanted to hear from you guys to see what you guys have with your knowledge and experience, because obviously you've been doing this for a long time and helping us out as a town with insurance and guiding us through the different insurance ways that we're supposed to go.
Sure. So right now, you folks are insured through the Massachusetts Local Insurance Association, which is a consortium of cities and towns that buy their health insurance together. And you buy your health coverage for your active employees, health coverage for your retired employees, and your dental insurance all through Maya. Ken and I have clients like yourselves that are in the Maya group, and we have lots of clients that are not in the Maya group. So we're pretty familiar with all the different options that are out there: fully insured, self-insured, and lots of variations in between. We are frankly looking right now for you at options, and we are talking to communities in your area. Now, Dunstable and Templeton, a couple of years ago, formed a consortium to buy your health insurance together, but we haven't actually triggered that because combined, you're only about 70, 80 employees. And we really want to get you a bigger number, because self-insuring at that level is very risky, as you point out, Mr. Chairman, and you really don't want to do it. So we're looking at Narragansett Regional School. Had a meeting with them this morning, in fact, and they've charged us to put together an analysis of the options that they've been given by the marketplace. They are in the Minuteman Neshoba joint purchase arrangement. So they're in a purchasing collaborative with a bunch of other cities and towns. Now, that purchasing collaborative happens to be having some issues right now with respect to large claims. And so the Narragansett School, who we started working with a year ago, is looking at options. So we gave them some options this morning, and I don't want in a public meeting to say too much in depth about that, because those options at this point are somewhat confidential and they're still reviewing them. What I will say is that what we've called for is to see if we can get a satisfactory result by combining the purchasing power of Narragansett, Templeton, and Dunstable, who you're already in partnership with, and use the power of those three, because combined, the two communities and the school would constitute a group over 400. Now, 400 subscribers is large enough to get the marketplace interested. And we have in hand what we think is a very, very good offer, which was issued on behalf of the Narragansett School with the assumption that Templeton and Dunstable would be part of that consortium. In addition, I'm waiting to have a meeting with the Winchendon Town Administrator because he's expressed an interest in potentially getting a quote to see if there's any advantage to his community to partner with you. And we're also speaking with Boxborough and Pepperell, who are members of the Minuteman Neshoba group also, like Narragansett, to determine, if they have an interest in partnering with you. So we're casting a very wide net at this point, and we're hoping that we can find partners for you. The goal here being to see if we can reduce your current rates and give you the exact same coverage that you have now with a lower rate. We are optimistic about that. We're continuing to work. And I would say probably in the next 4 weeks or so, we will have a reaction from a couple of those communities and potentially the school district. And we'll be ready to share with you their reaction to the offer that's been made. And preliminarily, at least, and I will say, Mr. Chairman, members of the FinCom, the advisory committee, it is only preliminary, but the preliminary results of our net casting look very favorable. Let me just say that without getting overly specific and revealing publicly what those communities are looking at, because that would be inappropriate for Ken and I to do so. But I will share that it looks very optimistic. It looks very good. And if it comes together, it's going to be very, very good news for Templeton. And we remain very optimistic as this develops over the next few weeks.
Excellent. Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, the specific thing that Adam asked us to speak to you about was the dental insurance. You are not required, because you take your health insurance and your retiree insurance through Maya, you're not required to take the dental insurance. Apparently, your dental insurance has not been bid in a good long time. So Ken and I are going to offer pro bono to bid your dental insurance. And because it has not been bid in quite a long time, we're again very optimistic we can realize some savings for you. So we'll be undertaking that probably in the next month or two. And by the time you're into your budget hearings in January, we're hoping to have some very good news for you across all fronts.
Excellent. Because that was one of our concerns, was that because the dental hasn't been bidded in a while.
Yeah. Adam had mentioned somebody had a notion that perhaps you could self-insure. You're way too small to self-insure dental. One train wreck, and you'd be looking at some serious problems. So rather than do that, communities your size don't insure dental unless you're part of a bigger group. Then we could look at that realistically. But in the short term, I think Ken and I would agree bidding your dental and seeing what the marketplace would offer is a good idea. And I don't know, Ken, Ken knows more about dental than I do, so maybe Ken wants to comment.
No, I agree, Kevin. Ultimately, it probably does make sense whichever funding arrangement you end up with for the medical, that the dental follows. And if the purchasing organization that Kevin has mentioned can in fact put the dental in a self-funding environment as well. Just one more comment. I think Monty Tech is probably a larger organization than clearly the town of Templeton is. You only have 63 employees covered under the health plan. We don't even get claims data or large claims data from your current insurance organization. They won't release it. And it's industry wide, because under 100 employees, typically it's not released to the underwriting community. So we wouldn't have the ability to even solicit medical stop loss. which is critical in a self-funded environment. Monty Tech, if they are in fact self-funded, does have a medical stop loss policy to limit their exposure on individual, unique, large claims. So as Kevin mentioned, it's a great recommendation by the committee to explore self-funding. The best alternative is to do it through this larger group where you can take advantage of the economies of scale, but you'll be able to obtain medical stop loss, which protects the overall risk and limits your exposure annually. And that's really what's critical in the whole equation.
Right.
So we're very optimistic that the Mass Strategic Health Group that we're chatting with and Maya, and hoping Maya will sharpen their pencil because of the competitive pressure we're going to be putting on them.
Right.
Between those options, we're going to have a very good result for you. And we'll be happy to revisit with you, Mr. Chairman and members of the advisory committee at a future meeting when we've got a little bit more that we can publicly say. And by the way, we tend to work locally through the insurance advisory committees that are formed under the statute that governs Massachusetts employee group health insurance. And I have to tell you, you have a group of employees that are exceptionally bright, extremely good to work with, very progressive, very open-minded. We've been working with you for 4 years now, and it's I would love to tell you that every insurance advisory committee that we work with is as attentive and knowledgeable as yours. Sad to say they're not all, but yours is excellent, and we greatly enjoy working with them. And they're always open to new ideas. That's a great hallmark of their professional approach to health insurance and what we try to do with them.
That's great. That's good to hear. I mean, it's good for the people to hear as well. I mean, we do have some solid employees, great employees here that all care about the community.
And I was just up there a couple days ago, by the way, and met with them. And we're scheduled to meet with them again tomorrow. Let's see. Today is Monday. We're scheduled to meet with them again on Wednesday in joint session with the Insurance Advisory Committee from Dunstable. And we'll be making a presentation to them about updating them on what's going on. So again, a terrific group of people for us to dialogue with and partner with.
Great. Thank you. No, what do you got?
Through the chair, I was one of the advisory committee members that met with Monty Tech, and apparently they have a stop loss. I believe $60,000 is the threshold amount for the stop loss. And my question is this: it seems like if you move the stop loss up or down, say you move it to 100,000, it'll be a lot different than say 10,000. Do you have a stop loss figure in mind?
Ken?
Or is that something that's too preliminary for you to talk
Well, we
about?
actually, no, it's a great question. We'll come up with multiple options, probably 3 different levels, and we'll try to value the exposure as we increase the deductible and lower the premium. I mean, it's like car insurance. Obviously, if you had a higher deductible on your car insurance, you get a lower premium. What we wanted to try and be mindful of, though, is, and I mean no disrespect to the committee, but the town demographics, generally industry-based, are more expensive, if you will, than the school district, given average ages and a whole other demographic factors. So it would be reasonable that the school district probably has a low pool level with limited exposure. Our population in towns, and again, I'm not being insensitive here, might tend to be on the higher age and therefore have a higher exposure and claims cost. So it may be difficult for us to replicate the exact same insurance arrangement with what that Monty Tech has. But as Kevin mentioned, by aggregating, and by the way, he did mention a school district partner, and that's exactly why we're doing this.
Yeah.
The benefit for economies of scale and improve the risk characteristics. That's probably the best target. I would love to see the community end up with a pool level no more than $90,000, to be honest with you. I think you could sustain that and keep our limited. So remember, the higher the pool level is, the more aggregate claims we push underneath the overall cost. The lower the pool level, the limit we have in the aggregate exposure, but the premium cost gets, extraordinarily expensive. The one thing about stop loss insurance premium is the money goes to that reinsurance organization. If we have a claim, we get reimbursed. If we don't have a claim, then the money has been spent. So we want to be able to value not overspending, and it's a art and science process. what makes this a whole lot easier is making sure we have a vast number of employees. Kevin mentioned about 400. I think that's a great number. And, you know, at the end of the day, there will be savings, and that's the whole idea here, without creating additional exposure, providing you have that employee base to work with.
I have the other question is I could not quite wrap my arms around this. It appears that Monty Tech has been self-insured for 50 years, ever since their inception. And it also appears that with some of the savings have gone into some kind of a fund which helps offset either claims or premium.
Yep.
Can you talk a
it's
little bit about that?
Yeah, well,
I don't really understand it.
So the statute, and Kevin will illustrate this. The statute requires the establishment of a healthcare claims trust fund, and the proportionate shares of the assets in order to, obviously, the town and the members, but it can only be spent on healthcare costs. And really, the discipline here is, in the good years, will the membership agree to a moderate adjustment, 4, 5, 6% of premium, knowing that those surplus dollars stay with the employer and not to the insurance company? Because in the COVID bounce back years, where there's an unknown cost exposure because of the bounce back of claim activity, we want to be able to use those prior claim dollars that are been stowed away in the surplus in the trust fund for those subsequent year claims. Kevin, I think there's maybe some legal stuff you want to talk about as far as 32B.
So the statute 32B that allows cities and towns to establish employee group health insurance programs. If you want to self-insure, one of the sections of 32B requires you to establish an employee health insurance trust fund. All of the money that's collected by the employee share through weekly paycheck withholding and the town's matching share, and you're at, I believe, 75-25, 75% town funding, 25% employee funding, all goes into a trust fund. The trust fund then pays the bills, and the bills for self-insured entity are claims for all the health insurance carriers and providers of health benefit, an administrative services organization that processes the bills from the providers and pays the bills out of the trust fund, and a stop loss insurance. Now, if you collect more in a given year than you pay out for those three costs, then you have a balance in your trust fund. If you collect less than you're required, the law actually allows you to run a deficit for a period of time, but you must raise your rates in the following year, so you amortize that deficit in the subsequent year or years. So you bring your trust fund back into the black. Now, Monty Tech is not a group that we're currently speaking with, but if the town would like to reach out to Monty Tech and ask them if they would have an interest in getting a quote, we would be more than happy to obtain a quote for them through these 2 or 3 different groups that we're chatting with, and see if they would be a good partner for Templeton. Happy to do that. And if their claims have been good and they're favorable, then we will so report, and they could end up being a very good partner for you. A group with Monty Tech, Narragansett, Templeton, Dunstable would be well in excess of 500, and that would bring you some very competitive interest from the marketplace, which shows up in better rates, frankly. So if that's a conversation, if you've got a relationship with Monty Tech and you want to reach out to them, or Adam wants to reach out to them, or the Board of Selectmen does, we would be happy to follow up with that and have a conversation with them about the very real possibility, frankly, that we might be able to save them some money in partnering with you in Narragansett.
Yes.
You said that groups that are, I don't know, under 100, not good, because just a few claims could throw that out of whack. What is the sweet spot? I'm sure you must.
Yeah.
The sweet
500
spot,
is the sweet spot.
500.
Yeah.
500 is what the health underwriters will say is about 80% credibility, meaning 80% odd predictability. Now, when you get over 1,000, you actually approach 100% credibility, meaning the underwriter can look at your claim statistics for the last couple of years, project what your claims will be going forward, and set a very good rate that has a very high assurance level of being correct. So 500 is the initial goal, but really 1,000 is even better.
Thank you.
And it's nothing more than the law of numbers. The larger you get, the more predictable you get. When you get over 1,000, you're not very much more predictable if you're 50,000 than you are at 1,000, because the incremental assurance is very small fractionally as you get over that 1,000 measure. But 500 is the first break point, the 1,000 is the second. So when we set up groups, we like to get you to about 1,000 subscribers with no more than 4 or 5 members, because then you've got a nice small group for decision making, but you've got a large group with respect to the subscriber base, and that gets a lot of interest. Think about it. Corporations tend not to be as large as communities, but if you had 1,000 employee corporation, you would be a very, very big deal to the health insurance marketplace. Similarly, cities and towns who merge and get over that number attract great interest from the carriers because they want your business. And if they want your business, you're going to see that in better rates.
Excellent. Anything else? Mike, do you have anything? No. Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. It was very informative. Gave us a basis. And like I said, as long as the employees are and the retirees are taken care of, medically and dentally, makes us happy. Obviously, with a cheaper rate, cheaper premium, with a better product. And I think you guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
All right, nice chatting with you.
Thank
and
you all.
we're happy to
Good
visit
time.
again when there's more information and a bit of time.
Excellent. Can't wait.
Thank
Take
you.
care. All.
Thank you.
It did answer a lot of questions. Yeah. I was very happy with that. Let's see, so okay. So let's move on to where we at now. C, bylaw change. As we discussed last year, there was I want to go into this first before we go into something else. 9-6 of the bylaw, where it specifically talks about the advisory committee shall meet jointly with the select board whenever there's a request to consider adjusting spending limits of any revolving fund or end of year financial transfers or requested transfer from the town reserve fund. We have obviously the emergency reserve fund, obviously that's what we control. Which again, having a meeting jointly with the select board does us, we have a joint meeting with the select board, have no voting opinion, no voting. They have some discussion, I'm assuming that we can discuss, but there's no real value there. Now, if it's end of year spending, something along those lines, absolutely, 100%. That should be a joint meeting. But when it comes to funds that the people already allocated us to watch over and take care of, why are we meeting with another board that has no voting authority over the funds? It just seems like it's just wasting people's time, and having to rearrange meetings to have meetings is just not the way we should be doing business. So not now, but obviously I will bring it back at a later date with a request. Again, just to tweak this a little bit. So where it comes with the emergency funds, that's the advisory committee's responsibility, and so will the advisory committee's responsibility. And anything else obviously will be jointly with the select board. I think that seems to be fair across the board. Where if you read the bylaw, it specifically says then we have to vote on both sides. The select board have to vote and we vote for end of year funding. Where it's emergency funding, emergency reserve fund that we have, that we're in charge of, it says we have to have a joint meeting which they have no vote on.
Yeah, we discussed this at our last joint meeting with them, and they were in favor of not having to be there.
We did, that was back in June. because we had to use emergency funds. Yep. And we had a joint meeting and we did our piece.
It's incredibly difficult to get both boards together on one night
Yeah,
because of the conflicting schedules.
yeah, for all of us. I mean, we, obviously are non-paid people and we do this out of the love of the community and because we want to be here, we want to help. But we shift and change all our schedules, to meet the criteria. It just doesn't make any sense to have a joint meeting to move emergency funds that have custody of, where the select board has no vote authority.
Do you know why?
Mike, how do you vote?
Yeah.
You don't know how do you vote, because it's our vote, not theirs. That's the concern I have. Now, if it was end of year spending, it specifically says in the bylaw that it has to be, both boards have to vote.
And I can understand that. That's more of a check and a balance.
Exactly. I mean, our check and balance is the fund that we have to oversee and be responsible for taxpayers' dollars. Our dollars, because we all pay taxes, that it goes out for emergency use. A catastrophic event that happens, a boiler breaks, or, the fire department loses a tire. I mean, that's something that's catastrophic that they need to take money for. They would have to come to us and it wasn't budgeted for. Such as things that the highway department came to us with. The culvert issue or these other issues that were unexpected. That were deemed an emergency based on the necessity and the need. I just think that, we can have more discussion, obviously. We have a town meeting coming up in November. It's obviously it's not going there, but maybe the annual town meeting, we could potentially, prescribe a recommendation to the, select board as well as the town administrator to maybe have a warrant article concerning this specific bylaw. Again, it's 9-6, where it talks about meetings, if you want to read at home. And I'll read it again. It says the advisory committee shall meet jointly with the select board whenever there is a request to consider adjusting spending limits or any revolving fund or any end of the year financial transfers or any request of transfer from the town reserve fund, which is the emergency fund. So it's like just that last sentence, we would have to potentially underline or cross through. It says, or any request transfer, that's the verbiage. How that got in there, I don't know, because it makes absolutely, logistically, it's a nightmare, but it makes absolutely no sense. But again, we could have more discussion on that.
Cleaned up and
It does.
we need to do it the proper way.
Absolutely. I think again, it's just like we brought it last, I think in June. I'm bringing it up now. I'm gonna keep it on as old business, just so we don't lose track of it. I want to make sure people understand that we are focusing on, change moving forward, but in a positive way. Any questions with that? That was just more discussion. Mike, you have any?
No.
So-
No.
Did you get a chance to look at the free cash usage? For FY 23? Did you put that in the package by chance?
Yeah.
You
I
did.
think so, yeah. Proposed uses, yeah,
Did you get that? I know I sent it off your email.
should be. I
I'd
think
rather-
mine.
I have read it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you want mine?
Yeah, sure. I mean, oh, you got it, Mike? Oh, it's under that.
Okay, thank you.
I said I've seen it before.
I know,
where to put it.
5D, obviously we had a chance to look at that, just want to make sure that the folks at home are aware of what's happening here.
Mr. Chair,
yes,
excuse me, is this the revised version? There were two versions.
yes, this is the revised version.
Thank you.
And obviously based on the current policy that's in place. There was a change at the end. Because we agreed to the change as well as and we recommended the change obviously to the select board. The select board endorsed the change of the management policies. So the starting balance of 674,546. That would be that's the total of the free cash amount. Snow and ice is obviously 150 out of that. The Norfolk Aggie expense, which is the transportation expense for that student going to the egg. That's 41,400. Use of expected primary election for FY 24, 15,000. And the unexpected remaining street light bill, which is on here for 5,896. Which leaves us 462,250. And then, as you can see down the list, reserve working capital 309,708, 309,708. The Aggie tuition costs of 26,355. The Vernon Street land acquisition, which is 5,000. The FY 24 OPEX amendment, 5,000. Less capital special articles, 125,250. Deposit to the opiate stabilization, which is 7,416, which we talked about at the beginning because of the opiates. Why is it coming out of free cash? And I think he already explained because of the change. Less capital and special articles is 125,000. This does not include the ARPA or other funding in the capital. So contributions to the OPEX stabilization is 36,980. CapEx stabilization is 46,225. Infrastructure stabilization, 46,225. And contribution to OPEB, which is 23,113. Remaining reserve for working capital was 5,729. I think I thought they did a good job with this. I mean, so people are aware. I mean, it's out publicly, you guys. I mean, everybody can see it. It should be online. And if it's not, it will be tomorrow because it's part of our package. So that will definitely be uploaded tomorrow. So you definitely, if you didn't get a chance to see it, well, couldn't find it, you will be able to see it tomorrow, I hope. Jackie, you'll be uploaded tomorrow?
Yes.
Excellent.
But it
So
should be up
it should be up there. Thank you. If it's not up there already. Any questions with that? The proposed free cash for 23? Obviously, it was already,
5 of them have to go to fall town meeting, right?
what's that? Yes.
5 of them have to be voted.
Yeah, some of them are already on the warrant.
Some of them are already on.
There's some of them are already on the one, yeah, which will, we think that.
Some of them, we have to appropriate the money. otherwise
Regardless.
They will take it out of free cash the
That's
other
right.
way, which would be the Norfolk Aggie, 41,000.
Yep.
Snow and ice is one of them, the light bill.
Yeah, the Norfolk Aggie tuition.
Well, the light bill has to be voted on. I think that's a 9/10 vote too.
I had a conversation with a member of my family, who's
Yeah.
also a town official, and I asked where this 9/10 come from, and because he in his town had a 9/10 requirement that got voted down, and 200 people present, and 21 people voted against it. So it missed it
Right.
was like one person over the 10th, which kind of makes you pull your hair out.
It does.
It appears, and again, this is not gospel, and Adam did check into it, but it appears that because it's not an annual town meeting, but a fall town meeting, that the 9/10 is triggered. But it also appears to have originated from the Department of Revenue,
Of course.
and probably by somebody who's never been in a participatory town meeting,
Mhm.
because it's really a draconian requirement. It really should be 4/5.
Yeah. True. You're right.
And my brother did tell me that he thought there was an AG ruling that in fact 4/5, but our town council hasn't been able to find it. And also our town council is not sure why it's a 9/10 rule in the first place, which tells you
Right.
that it's pretty fuzzy.
It is pretty fuzzy.
So hopefully that will get changed.
Well, at least some resolve to that, because obviously, it's, moving forward, we need to take care of our responsibilities, I guess.
And I hope I didn't take up too much of your time explaining
No.
what's really kind of a in the weeds point of it.
No, not at all. Let's talk about the upcoming schedule real quick. Obviously, we have some things coming forward to include, our our pre-town meeting, obviously, we did get the warrant articles ahead of time, like the bylaw says. We've had them now for, how long, 15 days? We've had it for some time now, so we got to do some review on our own. But I did do a stakeholder placemat for this room for the 7th of November. I mean, I don't know what your schedules are like. I only did the placeholder just to hold the room. I know we still need to vote on the date and time, so I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Anybody have any questions or any issues with that date? Any afflictions?
We talked about the date. You and I, when you're trying to find a date,
Oh, that's right, that's right.
that's one of the few on the best.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I would make a motion that we
Thank you.
have a meeting to discuss the upcoming fall town meeting warrant on November 7th, 2023.
Okay, so making a motion for our pre-town meeting to be November 7th, 2023 at what time?
6:30.
At 6:30 p.m. Okay, I have a motion, have a second?
Second.
A motion second, any other discussion? I see none. Mike?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the pre-town meeting will be November 7th, 2023 at 6:30 here in this room. This is where we go over the warrant in its entirety. So please, if you want a prelim of what you're going to see on November 15th, please come and join us on November 7th. Obviously, November 7th, we have a meeting, and then obviously the town meeting's November 15th. So we're not gonna be looking at a meeting probably until December, and I haven't looked at the schedule yet for that far out. But it's the third, we have the third Wednesday, correct? Locked in? I can't remember. I think we have the third Wednesday locked in. I'm pretty sure. And the third Wednesday would be the 20th of December. And then once that date happens, then I'll put the schedule together for the calendar year, which will be January through. And obviously come the annual town meeting with new members, and we have to reorganize and stuff like that.
Mr. Chair, do you need a vote on the December 20th date?
I don't know. I don't need to vote for that. I just know that, I mean, unless we're all in agreement. I believe it's I know your last meeting is gonna be the 15th.
Yes.
No,
7th.
15th.
If I can get to a phone or a computer, yeah. I told you I was in Huntsville and
I know. And you keep going on these vacations.
It's not a vacation. It's business. This one's business.
Yeah. For all that don't know, Mike is leaving us. Cat's out of the bag. Mike is moving on to bigger and better things. And so his last meeting will be the 7th of November, and we wish him well, but we'll talk more on that day too. We might give like a little fruit basket or something.
I don't like food. I really like dark chocolate though.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me. All right.
Chair,
Yes,
December 20th is in online, it's booked, and also item 5D is available online from the packet.
The free
okay,
cash plan.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So, excellent. Thank you. All right, so that's working out well. We're moving right along here. Okay, let's talk about some more business coming forward, because again, it's all about communication. It's all about knowing. It's all about knowledge. Questions, comments, please ask. And if we don't know, we are definitely going to get them to the people that do know. So let's work on old businesses. Alpha discussion of work on action plan for position funding for the town accountant. Obviously, we had some talk about that, and then I did get a little bit of I wouldn't say talk, but I got a little feedback that was some concern, like why are we talking about positions? Why are we talking about this? Well, it's all under funding capabilities, so that's why. And obviously there's a lot of funding capabilities here. And I just think that we should look at the funding options. That's it. And then we present those to the select board, and then the select board have to make the determination. We don't. We just give them the options that they have, or the necessity facts that they need to make decisions in the best interest of the community. That's all we can do. We take the information from the people, people online, people, write me letters, people send me emails, and we take those information and we provide it to the meeting, and then we come up with a consensus, and then we send the recommendations to the select board, and hopefully they listen to what we're trying to say, because that's what the people want to say. So that's why that position was brought up. If somebody has any questions, I mean, by all means, email the email address, call my phone. Please, ask questions, because we're asking the same questions. So what do you got, Don? You were tasked to do some research for me.
Yes, Mr. Chair, last month I was tasked with doing comps, because as a whole, a committee as a whole, we felt that to have solid numbers to work on from comparable towns, that would be the best way to go, to come up with a recommendation to the select board.
Excellent.
So what I did in preparing the comment was I used the 10 closest towns that advisory had recommended last year for fiscal year 2023. And I also used the bordering towns of Athol, Westminster, and Winchester. And the latest figures for the majority of towns was from their FY22 annual reports. In the comp sheet, I have a couple from FY21 because that was the latest. And there was a couple from FY23, but the bulk of them were for FY22, including Templeton. There's a wide range. I'm going to talk first about the town accountant. There's a wide range of figures, within these 14 towns. At the low end is the town of Rutland, who appears to purchase the services of an outside accounting vendor at a cost of $30,000 per year. And the high end, and the only town paying their town accountant more than $100,000 per year, is the town of Lancaster, with a town accountant salary of $104,462. Most of the 14 towns compared use the same town accountant, assistant town accountant model used by Templeton. For the town accountant position ranking from the low salary to the high salary, Templeton's town accountant salary is below average. 6 of the 14 towns had a salary average that clustered between $79,000 and $88,000. I felt, in looking at the data, that the ideal town accountant salary is for a comp town was the town of Dayton. Their salary, they had to raise their salary because their previous town accountant left in FY21. So they had to bump up the salary due to the marketplace. Right. And what they did was they established a base salary of $87,000 with a $3,000 bonus for the accountant obtaining a CPA. And also the basic requirement for their town accountant is a 4-year degree in either accounting or finance or some closely related field. So based on that, I came up and I have crafted a motion, to move that the salary target for FY27 or such time as determined by the select board for the position of town accountant be set at a range of $80,000 to $85,000 for a person with a minimum of a 4-year accounting or closely related degree, and a range of $88,000 to $93,000 for a person with a CPA. I think those numbers they fit within the comp towns, and it would also, I think, be what the marketplace is asking for at this time. And I would just like to comment on the assistant town accountant comps.
That was a motion, right?
Yeah, there was a motion.
Motion recommendation for the select board. So before we go on to the other one, so that was the motion, Mike. Do we have a second? Yes.
I saw that.
Yeah, you seconded? Yes. Okay. We had a motion seconded. For this recommendation to go forward to the select board. Any other discussion? Mike,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well.
And regarding the assistant town accountant position, I also have a motion
Okay.
and I'd like to talk a little bit about that. I use the same towns and years as the town accountant comps. 3 towns, among the 14 towns, I did the comps for, Rutland, Sterling and Montague. They do not have assistant town accountants at all. Ranking from low to high, Templeton's assistant town accountant is right in the middle of the pack. 7 towns, including Templeton, pay their assistant town accountants between $42,000 and $54,000 per year. The lowest pay is Orange at $15,740 per year. The highest is Williamstown.
Didn't you say 15,000?
Yes,
Well, they work 1 day a week?
I don't know. I just took this from the annual town
Did you
report.
laugh, Mike?
I did that. That was fun.
Yeah,
That was-
That was fun.
Chuckled. I mean,
That
I thought I wasn't hearing right.
But
Okay.
I would say, I would say Orange spends a lot less than virtually all the other towns. They only spend just over a total of 102,000 for their total accountant,
And assistant?
assistant and expenses.
Okay.
And other towns were as high as over 200,000.
Right.
And Williamstown is on the other end of the scale where they pay their assistant $83,000 per year, just $1,000 less than a town accountant, which is just that they use the 2 positions on an interchangeable basis somehow. It's kind of an unusual arrangement.
That would be unusual.
Most have what Templeton does. They have the town accountant and then they have the assistant. It appears also that the education requirements for the assistant in many of these towns is a 2-year degree, associate's degree in accounting or a related field,
Mhm.
or if not a degree, then years of experience, years of experience.
Okay.
So my motion now regarding the assistant town accountant is that the position for the assistant town accountant be set at a range of $44,000 to $49,000 for a person without a 2-year accounting or related degree, but with experience. And then if somebody has a degree, the range would be somewhat higher, $47,000 to $52,000.
And for a person with a 2-year accounting or closely related degree, okay,
Yes,
that's your motion
yes, that is
Okay.
the motion.
for recommendation again, this recommendation going in front of the select board as well. Have a motion on the second? Second. Have motion second, any other discussion? So none, Mike?
Yes.
No?
Yes,
And I vote yes as well. I'm gonna give you a copy of this, so keep it in the file.
Yes.
So send, I want that brought up as well.
also through the comps be in the record.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have copies of them?
Yeah.
3 pages?
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's the comps based on the motion.
Thank you so much. Can you, when you get money, can you send me visually this,
Yes,
so that I can draft up the memos to the select board?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least take it into, the chair's book, so we can take a peek at that. Thank you for doing that, and that was a lot of work. I really do appreciate it, and this gives us an idea, and will give the select board an idea of like what they'd be looking at. Or what they potentially could be looking at.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about Bravo. The no action taken on Parks and Rec Commission. It was brought to my attention that somebody thought I wasn't following the bylaw, which again, I mean, it happens. I do sometimes step out of place at times, and I do apologize. I mean, because I am human and I do make mistakes. But what happened at that last meeting with Parks and Rec was almost more of an educational basis for the commissioner. There was no paper. I say again, no paperwork was transcribed for use of emergency funds, 0 paperwork. I asked for her to be here so I could discuss with her what her intention was. We voted on not to even send anything forward because it didn't meet the criteria for the emergency fund use based on the bylaw in general. That's what we voted for. It wasn't even in, it didn't meet the criteria. So not meeting the criteria to use as emergency funds, it was to put a sink in the snack shack. So it didn't meet the criteria for emergency funds. That's all that was. Now, obviously, because we have the bylaw that says we have to have a joint meeting to move all funds to include emergency funds, we would have had to set up a joint meeting, if we did accept that, to have a joint meeting with the select board at a later date to potentially move those funds if it did meet the criteria for emergency use. But obviously, it didn't meet the criteria. So what we did was we educated the commissioner on the fact that utilization of other funds that are available to her, such as her employment fund area, her account, which did have people in it. There was no person that they were able to use some of those funds and transfer them from one account to another to get the sink installed. So that's all that was all a informational basis. No one broke any bylaws, nobody broke any laws. It was more educational for not only for her, but for us to say, hey, it did meet the criteria for emergency use. It's not going in front of us. It's not going in front of the selectmen. There was no paperwork, and the fact that we educated her on use of other municipal funding that she had available to use for the sink. That's all that was. So I wanted to make sure I was clear because I did get a message that there was a complaint made verbally that I broke the bylaw because we can't vote independently, which they're right, we can't. We have to have a joint meeting, which I knew.
We didn't anyway.
What?
We didn't.
No. But I want to make sure that people are aware that, I mean, we do get all the information. I want to make sure that they're aware that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. I mean, the bylaw is right here next to me. I'm on it all the time. I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to be right. And obviously educating, with Noel and with Mike, we're all trying to do the best we can for what the community asks us to do. So if there's any questions with that, please, email, call, let me know. But that was the whole point of that. Okay, moving on to earmarks. I know we pushed that off from last meeting too. You want to talk about that? No? Earmarks?
Say,
Yeah, the state earmarks.
at the state level, nothing has been done.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that we lost our state senator, Ann Goby. She resigned to be secretary or undersecretary of rural affairs.
Right.
Which I think will benefit Templeton in the long run, but in the short run, she did get a copy of the earmarks, but she left before she could make any action.
Okay.
I also did discuss with John Zlotnick, about some of the earmarks in general.
Right.
And I would say his attention is primarily, again, he's running for a different office. And his attention is also on the Main Street Bridge. He's made that a priority. There hasn't been any results on that. It's kind of like making sausage. The process can be very very lengthy.
Yep.
And out of sight. But the end result would be a bridge that we can all use. So it's just there really hasn't been anything enacted as far as the specific requests. However, having said that, I do very strongly believe that we should create a list for the select board every year. It appears to be March, April, May, right about the time of the annual town meeting. We should create a legislative priority list for our elected representatives every year. And whether it gets passed or not, we have something in writing we can make reference to. And I think it's just a very useful tool.
And then we can just provide those recommendations right to the select board.
Select board, and then, they did act, they did send a letter to Senator Goby in May, but as I said, unfortunately,
Right.
she resigned.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I know.
so that's the status of
You're
that.
setting your legislative objectives. for the year.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And to my
But it's
knowledge,
never
that
been
hadn't been done.
Never been done.
Good practice. It is
Well,
good practice.
we should be doing it.
That way you can focus on them continuously. If you generate them early on,
That's right.
you keep coming back and revisit them.
Because again, that the money's at the State House and the state, they have meetings that are closed. And when they move money around, some of the money, I mean, it's most of these different funds and stuff, but not illegal, I mean, it's all legal. But it's like, that's where these earmarks could be sought, where, oh, well, Templeton needs a bridge, okay, great, so they could take earmarks and, you know, we could potentially move,
Money falls out of the sky.
that's right. Exactly,
I very much don't like that because
I don't like it
it
either.
hurts our town. I
because
mean,
we don't see, we don't know, we don't even know when they meet.
no, we don't.
We
We
have
don't know
no
what they
idea.
vote. We don't know
Yeah.
what they
Nope.
vote.
It hampers your ability to fiscally plan.
Right, but if we do this legislative list of, you know, things that earmarks that we need, you know, for the community. To benefit the community based on funds that are available from, you know, the federal government to the state down to us, that they have available. I mean, we should be utilizing that. I know I'm gonna talk briefly on the, what's it on E? Yeah, on E, that letter, we did send the letter to the governor, the governor's office, so that letter we talked about last meeting, that we voted to send to the governor's office, that was sent. I have not had any response from that letter yet. I did get responses from the last letter we sent, so, this was the second, this was for the request for the $3 million for Main Street Bridge. That we highly recommend. I know the select board did the same thing. I know when we first did this, it was like the change. You know, one governor was leaving. Governor Healy was coming in, so we knew. And then obviously from last year, there was an overage. And a lot of people got, you know, some extra money last year because they were over their cap. So they had to send out all those checks. So I know there's like a lot of moving parts here. So, but again, we're doing our due diligence here to make sure that the right people are getting the information if they need to make right decisions. So that letter was sent, so that was an echo. Town vehicle use policy, let's look at Delta. Mike, I gave you, helped me with a task in there.
Mhm.
Do you, have you come up with anything?
I'm working,
Working on it.
still in
Okay.
process.
Okay.
I'll have it to you by your December meeting. That'll be my last official
Working on it.
act.
Okay. And again, that was the town vehicle use policy, with the financial indications, obviously like fuel, maintenance, all that stuff, you know, who with authority, you know, all the stuff that's supposed to protect the people in the community, protect the driver of the vehicle, to make sure we're doing everything right, logistically. Again, having policies like this in effect is kind of like the town's playbook and how to play and do the right plays for the right reasons.
Protects us, protects the town.
It protects the town.
Not only employees, it protects the town. It's-
Yeah, for liability, legality, it just protects the town. Okay, thanks, Mike. So you're working on that, so I'll move that out till December probably. Excellent. Like I said, let's the governors are went out.
I work alone in the Mediterranean.
Mediterranean.
I work it in the Mediterranean.
Nice. Community center of the kitchen, with the FOTV recommended for the AC. Friends of Templeton recommendation for the AC. We, yes,
Um, I actually read today the complaint that was sent to the Attorney General's office,
okay,
and it no, they have a process like any other large body
right,
like that, and I think I would like to see what they decide to do with the complaint. I also understand that there is a meeting of the Council on Aging where the funds may be meeting with them, and if that is the case, I'm not 100% sure of that, but if that is the case, that there is a meeting, hopefully that meeting will go a long way towards clearing up, you know, the issue of possible discrepancies and
okay.
the money.
Oh,
So
are you invited to that meeting?
I believe it's a public meeting.
Okay,
It's the Council on Aging, yes.
Yeah.
It's on the list. It's on the top.
It'll be, I imagine it'll be on the town website and it'll be a public meeting. So again, as far as our,
well, yeah,
Our
the Friends
body.
of Templeton Elders are different from the Council on Aging.
Well, they're meeting with them.
I mean, yeah, but,
I think the Council on Aging invited them.
okay,
I believe I
oh,
recommend
I see,
that
so the
one.
Council on Aging invited the Friends of Templeton Elders to a meeting, I see, all right,
And also a related item, you know, I'm I sit on the capital improvements committee, and one of the items that was coming up from last year is the renovation of the senior center kitchen. So, one of the questions is, is the Friends of the Elders going to contribute some money, or is it all going to be on the town to come up with the funding for that project?
Yeah, okay. Excellent. So
Mr. Chair,
this will continue. We will talk more about that at our next meeting, just we will get some more information, more answers.
the next Council on Aging meeting is Monday, November 20th at 1:30 p.m.
November 20th
Yeah, Monday, November 20th at 1:30 p.m.
at 1:30.
1:30.
I just want to say, I'm not 100% sure that it's, gospel that is going to be brought up.
Everybody hear that? Noel said.
You should be able to check their agenda.
Yes,
If it's one of the
yes, it
items
should be
their
on the agenda.
It should be on the agenda.
Website.
There you go.
If they're,
So that would be November 20th at 1:30, I guess, at the community center. Okay, we'll keep that on the list for right now until we get some more answers. And obviously, I know the Attorney General's office is gonna do the full investigational and
And that's really where it should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll get all the facts.
Yeah.
they received it, they would have sent a letter to the organization that they have a action. plan.
oh, I'm sure they, yeah.
Any movement of funds.
Yep.
After that would be bad. Until
Terrible.
until the state comes back and
Well, that's how people go
go to jail. Basically.
Absolutely. So keep that open for the next meeting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see anybody go to jail.
No.
I think all the people involved
No.
really care about the town.
Of course they do.
It's just, I think, what I hope is that it's no more than,
Yeah.
sloppy bookkeeping, perhaps. That's what I hope.
Hmm. I hope the same. Transportation, go on to G, golf. Transportation costs, the student for Norfolk Agricultural High School. And our recommendation, which was pushed forward, I just want the people to know that obviously it's a warrant article as well, for the town meeting, to move funds so that students can get to and from school. And also the tuition of the schools also being paid as well. Which again, it's our responsibility, as I think Dr. Kazimak elegantly said multiple times. It's not a regional school district thing. This is a school thing, but I have to give him kudos. His team and his staff being our partners, the educational partners that we have here in town. They did a fantastic job by, getting us the best rate possible for the transportation piece, which was under what we thought was gonna be, in the high 60s, 70s range, which again wasn't the case. And then the educational cost, which was plateaued, I think was at 26,000 some change, which again, thanks so much to the regional school district and, what they did, their main office, all those folks in there that really gave us a hand. Because again, this is not something the town is used to doing. This is the first time I've seen it. And then, so this is all new. So really kudos to the Narragansett Regional School District. Any you guys want, anything to add on that?
The only thing I would add is that under the Massachusetts general laws, the town has to pay that bill, or the state will take it out of our free cash.
Which means the town pays the bill.
The town's still paying.
Pays the bill.
No matter which way you slice it.
Pay me now or pay me later.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, so,
There's no saying,
Cheeseburger today?
there's really no saying no.
No, you can't.
and there's no recommendation that we can put, whether to pay it or not, it just has to be.
That's
paid.
right. That's right. I mean, again, this is a lot of informative information being put out for the people to know and understand and hopefully grasp. And then obviously if there's questions, I mean, we're all three of us here ready to answer any questions. And if we don't know the answer, then we will definitely find out what the answer is and let you guys know, if people know. Okay, status on status on 10 Pleasant Street. I can tell you what I know right now. Obviously, this cannot go on the MLS. It's actually against the law. It can't happen. There's a process involved for town to sell land. It is going through that process. I believe it's all set now. And I believe there should be a warrant article, I think also, if I'm not mistaken, on 10 Pleasant Street as well. So that property can be sold. I know there's a lot of rumors out there about a dog park. I don't know. I'm not sure how or when that started. All I know is the whole intention of that building coming down, that big building coming down, and the issues that we had with the asbestos and the tank in the ground and the additional asbestos found, which the select board did a great job finding a way to make sure that that was taken care of. The building was taken down, and now on the market potential, will be sold. How it is sold by a town, it goes through its own separate process through land court. Huh?
It's a bid process.
It's a bid process, exactly. It's a bid process. So I'm hoping to get some good news on that as far as when the bids go out to see what happens, but all those funds will go back into the demolition revolving account. So that we can do that to another property that's dilapidated based on, Laurie and her group and the buildings.
So that hang up with that small piece of land.
Yeah.
Being attached to it in land court, that was resolved.
I believe it was.
They
I
actually
believe it
did
was.
something quickly.
No, it wasn't. It was like 4 or 5 months.
That's
It's-
quick.
It was
Quick for the.
That's
land
quick
court.
for land.
Yeah, very quick.
Extremely
Yeah.
quick for land court.
Well, I guess you're right. I guess, I talked to more to Laurie about it, but
Usually talk
every time I asked, it
12,
was,
18
it's still,
months.
yeah, yeah,
It's probably because of parcel land. That's
So small.
but
yeah,
It probably was a no brainer and they pushed it.
right.
Usually the 1 to 2 years.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, right.
On average, 18 months.
Wow. So, well, it's a good thing we
They
can.
are a very unique animal. For it. I mean,
Well-
specific and the meats and bounds and.
Well, I'm glad that,
They are
Yeah.
difficult to work with.
I'm glad that department has handled that. Again, they do a great job. The town needs to be aware that group with the
4 months is like hitting a home run in the World Series.
It
excellent.
is, I'm astounded really that they.
Yeah.
Involved that 4 months.
Oh, great.
I'm astounded.
Oh, coming from an attorney, I feel wonderful.
Sure you do.
I do,
About the only
but again,
time.
I want people to know that, it's being processed for
Oh,
bid, and that land, whatever dollars that the town receives based on that will go back to the demolition evolving account, where those dollars
Get our
will be utilized.
investment
to-
back.
Huh?
Hopefully we get our investment back.
Well, we're hoping it's some of it back.
You don't want to lose money tearing a building down.
No, that's true.
The
But we
idea is
put-
not to have diminishing returns.
No, and again, this is it's as a nonprofit business standpoint, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you're gonna spend, I don't know what they actually spent total at the end of the day, it was over 90,000, I believe, close to it.
Whole cost.
Yeah, for the tear down and the abatement and then the additional,
That's,
you're right.
I think it was, again, this off the top of my head, I think it was, north of 130,000.
Was it 130?
Yeah, it was north of 100,
It was north of 100?
quite a bit north of 100.
All right,
Yeah.
so obviously, we're not gonna get quite the bit of return that we think we're gonna get, because obviously selling that piece of property, it's.
The idea is to at least break even.
And I think the property values where they are, should break even, they should break even.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be accept anything less.
Right,
You should say, this is the min, and the min should be what was put into the demolition and cleanup of the property.
right.
That should be your minimum bid.
I think you would still get bids over and above the min.
Well,
I think that's a
what-
great idea.
That's what I'm hoping. That should be the minimum bid would be so if it costs us 120,000 to get that building down,
That's your
the
minimum
min
bid.
bid should be 120.
Yeah.
And then don't take anything less.
Yeah, because what you could have is you could set the minimum bid as a lot of these auctions are 5K and get a bid for 6K because nobody bids on it. I mean,
Oh, no, we should know. I won't,
I think it'll be very active bidding.
Well, I hope so. I mean, it's a good piece of property. I mean,
It is.
it's right next to Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, you just walk out to get your coffee in the morning, it'd be great.
That's it at $500,000 to the value right there.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so that's happening. So let's see, all right, warrant for pre-town meeting. Obviously, everybody received the warrant in timely fashion. Obviously, once the select board approved it, we immediately got it the next day, which was 2-3 weeks ago. You do have an opportunity to go through all of it?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, we already set our pre-town meeting for November 7th at 6:30 here. Like I said, please come and see what the warrant, and I believe the warrant's online as well. It's already on the website, correct? Okay, great. And also we need to advertise the fall pre-town meeting on the website as well. We are not obligated to put it in the newspaper anymore, but we need to put it online. If we could do that tomorrow, that would be great. because we have to have it, within a certain period of time for advertisement. Who's running our Facebook page? Is Holly still running the Facebook page for the town? Can you also make a note for Holly just to make sure that she also puts on the Facebook page of the pre-town meetings November 7th? That would be great. And I'll just follow up with you tomorrow. Okay, any question about the pre-town? Anything? Okay, we're all gonna be there, right? Mike, you need to be here.
I know, that's why I gave you that date as one of my available dates.
I was using your template, so stop yelling at me. Okay, go on to J, Sasha on the letter of the Worcester State Retirement Board. No,
Yes, last month I was tasked, by, board, to, reach out to the, Worcester County retirement folks. And so I spoke, initially I spoke with Ann Kavanaugh, an assistant to, Rachel Grimaldi, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Worcester County Retirement Board, and I initially had asked for a face-to-face meeting, and advised me that it would best to email my questions, which I did. I emailed 5 questions. The first was, I stated that in for 2021, the investment holdings of the Worcester County Retirement Board grew by over $200 million. Yet the town of Templeton's contribution also went up. And you have good years and you have bad years. 2022 was a bad year, so most of that $200 million is given up. But it's still the town of Templeton's contribution is still going to go up no matter what the stock market does. Their investments, what happens, our contribution is going to go up 10% a year between now and the year 2036. And so this next question was, why is after rise 10%? And the third question was, is the window of for the catch-up period being they use the year 2036, but the legislature has authorized the date as late as the year 2040. So my question was, can you change the year? And then the other questions about can the town use purchase bonds, and can the obligation be discharged in municipal bankruptcy? So basically, her answer was, in short, was if you have any questions, when their accountant has a meeting, you can go over these things. But she pointed out we have 100 towns, and they're not going to change things for just one town. I think that was
the gist of it.
The gist of the message.
Even though it would benefit all 100.
What they have is they've decided to do what they're going to do as far as the contributions of the towns and the year at which the catch-up provision will end. So I still think a face-to-face meeting with them is the best route.
And they said at the end, well, they will notify the treasurer the date of the presentation when it is
Right.
determined. Please check with your town treasurer if you would like to attend that, the meeting as well.
And I would like to attend that meeting. I think that
I think you should.
I think over the years I don't think members of the select board, and they don't have the time, and I don't think members of our committee, our board, have been able to meet with them. Yet this is 18% of the town's budget. It's 18%.
So let me ask you this, so changing it potentially from 2036 to say 2040, what would the savings be for the town for those few years on average?
Well, if we end in 2036, you have roughly 13 years left. Okay, so you go to 2040, it's 17 years instead of 13 years. So potentially you are saving, maybe $400,000 a year.
Right.
Because
based on the 18% that we have to pay. because.
Right,
again,
so we're paying roughly $2 million a year, so instead of paying $2 million a year
we like,
and having that go up
$1.6
10%,
million.
maybe it would be, yeah, $1.6 million, which would still go up.
right,
So, there are large dollars involved, but they. I don't think they're gonna make an accommodation for just Templeton.
Right.
But having said that, if
but actually,
15 or 20 towns who obviously are in the same boat that
but
we
she
are.
also said, no town has asked.
Right.
No town has ever asked that question. So I mean, obviously, nobody.
There's no answer.
There's no answer. So I think you go into that meeting, I think is crucial, because 18% of our fiscal budget is huge, because again, think of it 18%, but 12% of our budget's also our debt. So when you start adding all these percentages up, there's not a lot of money available for the services that we need to provide. And the increased services that we're gonna need to provide based on the growth of the town, because the town's growing. So I think,
It's worth pursuing, because if you could save $400,000 a year, it's a piece of equipment for Bob Sosek
Yeah.
or Chief Dickey, or you could fully fund the snow and ice budget, which people complain about ad
absolutely.
nauseam. So,
Yeah,
so,
so do we.
right, and I just think that these folks are. I understand they have a fiduciary duty. I get that. But they really don't come up with the numbers in a way that favors the towns within the retirement.
They're
system.
making money off the backs of Massachusetts taxpayers.
Right.
And if you're using $2 million as a rough estimate, going from 13 to 17, you just saves about $470,000 a year.
Yeah,
That's substantial.
That's
right.
huge. That's
So,
huge.
so I think at the end of the day is, we should talk with them.
Mhm.
The action plan, if it would be that I have in mind is,
Mhm.
first of all, to talk with them and see if they're gonna budge. Maybe they'll budge, or if we talk and show up at a board of directors meeting and say, hey, look, we need a little help here. You're going up 10%, we live in a top 2.5 world.
Right.
Maybe they'll nibble around the edges a little bit and help us out that way. Or the other way is, maybe get 15 or 20 towns like Templeton. I'm sure there's 15 or 20 other towns
Yeah,
within the 100-member towns who say,
we're all in the same boat.
we are all in the same boat. Hey, you need to change that date, the end date from 2036 to 2040, or tell us why it's not beneficial to our towns for you to do that.
Right.
So that conversation needs to happen. And then, the final result would be if they don't budge, maybe at that point we should get the town council involved, which I would be very reluctant to do.
Okay, it's not
But
possible.
the dollars are so big, it's.
Right.
The dollars are so big, it's really, it's something that should be as a last resort, given some consideration. So.
Yeah, because number 4 would probably never, there would be no way. Because like I said, we're at 12% now, meaning the purchase of bond to pay off the remaining part of the debt. There would be no. So I can, there's no way.
The only thing about purchasing a bond, unfortunately, interest rates have
Well,
gone up.
there are towns that did it though. Let's,
Yeah,
Lunenburg did, Wellesley did it. Wellesley got, they got a loan or a bond or something to pay off whatever debt they had due to their retirement system.
They have deep pockets.
They're,
And also the interest rates when they did it was probably around, under 2% when
Right.
they did it. And now it's at least 5%.
yeah,
But there is some merit to considering that, because if you could take 13 years worth of debt and stretch it out to 20 years worth of debt, that, some kind of a reasonable interest, there could be a savings,
I see what you're
of
saying.
some money,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be as much as the 470,000 by
right.
moving the date from 2036 to 2040.
Right.
No, but I do think that the next step is to, I'll certainly talk with Ms. Richardson, about when these are done.
Right.
It seems to me they have a good working relationship. And I must say, Rachel, even though she didn't want to meet personally, she did respond right away
which is great.
to my email. So, they are, they are responsive.
Yeah, I like our first question, our first statement here. please be advised that the KMS Actuaries LLC provides the actual valuations and the appropriations for each year, which means each town, I would assume, correct? Yes. All right. Well, I'm gonna obviously go to read this to the public. I want to use this as,
Yeah, I'd like to put this into the record.
yep, that will be in the exhibit as well. I'll get that for you, for tonight. So that will be also online, tomorrow. So if you want to see the email that was sent out by Noel Francis and the response back from the Worcester State Retirement. You have any other questions on that? No? That's, Okay, going to L. Status on letter to the school committee from Superintendent Kazran for the FY 24. Were you working on that one? Was I?
I actually spoke with the superintendent.
You did. Okay, so
No, just to give him a heads up that this year may be different than last year. And I know we had discussed recommending that the select board send Superintendent Kazran a letter.
Okay.
I am
you bootstraps.
but I'm also hopeful is that I think I'm hopeful that what will happen is what happened last year is where Superintendent Kazran comes up with a number and the select board and Adam come up with a number and they come to an agreement, even though they started apart, they come together.
Right.
That's my hope.
I mean, they are our partners.
They are, and I think, and Superintendent Kazran gets it that we, I told him one of the things that we last year that suffered was we couldn't add money to the snow and ice budget. Which
Right.
really, needs that. That's a real consequence of the town contributing more money. Yet it's good that the town contributes more money. Certainly want to support the schools.
But we want to get the school buses there too.
Right.
But
But
we can't get the school buses.
But from
there.
his standpoint, is, he's asking. And I understand why he's asking, because his salaries are, if you do salary comps. There's the high salaries, there's the median salaries, and then. There's the low salaries, and then, you go through, and then there's the regional school district salaries, and they're really out, unfortunately, they're really out of whack with, what it is, and that's why he's asking for, more money. And you can't blame him doing that.
No, I mean, we did the pay comparisons for all the town employees as well. And we're just as, some of the positions are right where they need to be, but most of the positions are wicked low. I mean, where they shouldn't be. Town accountant position, for instance, and we talked them as recommendations going forward. I mean, that would be a huge increase for this community, for a certified like CPA person that's public, certified public accountant that's hired. I mean, you look at, high eights potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, that's out of the gate. I mean, so when you look at professionals, peoples that are coming in, these jobs are required to have more money. I mean, highway guys I think they're starting at 18, 19 bucks an hour, with a CDL license. I mean, the fire guys, I mean, the firefighter paramedics are making X where they can go work as, do the same job for a private sector ambulance company, make double the salary. So I mean, there's a lot of, I think across the board, the pay is skewed. I did have a conversation, we did have a meeting with the superintendent as well. Myself, the chair of the select board, the chair of the school committee, Dr. Kazran, the business manager. I mean, we're gonna try to do it like quarterly, where we're all gonna meet in the room and start chatting about numbers, and where things need to go. And, this is gonna be a union contract year. So obviously that's gonna be a big thing where, they've been getting low numbers, 1%, 2%, nothing big. Where they would like to do something big this year and do like a 3, 3, and 3. But again, that's a huge, significant increase to our budget. There's been some throw around for budgets and debts and, things to be moved and shifted a little bit, like, i.e. like maybe if the school would take the school debt. That would save us, a lot of money. But again, it just being talked about. I'm not saying that I want to cause or throw any stones or get people in trouble. Just different ideas that's thrown out there just to make sure that we're all on the same playing field to try to do the same thing and save money. So I think maybe creating some type of, letter to the superintendent from us. Stippling, the working relationship that we have, that the select board have, that the advisory committee has with our regional school district partners, is huge, and the other communities, meaning Phillipston. I think they're a huge part of this with us.
And I really want to help them, I want to help them get the track.
Yep.
Make upgrades, work on a way to do that. And I really want to, see the contribution rise. But again, we have other, the rise is strained.
Yep, it is, and
It just gets very difficult.
the school district is also constrained on monies that they can get, monies that they can borrow, because they're limited by statute as well. But let's go to, as we're talking about both here, let's talk about M as well, which is the recommendation plan of action for the football field and track. I did bring that up at the meeting, Dr. He was pretty straightforward. His thought process is also his teachers are important, and they are. Every single one of them, because again, I'm not a teacher, but those teachers do a lot of great things for our community, and I have kids in the program here. I have my youngest in kindergarten here. I have my grandkids go to school here. I have a son in 5th grade, 6th grade here. So, I get it, but his concern, like any business person, well, if I had to pick between, a football field or pay my employees, I want to pay my employees.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I would expect anything less from him, because that's what he is there to do. Me as a parent, as a resident, we're the only football field around us that has grass. Everybody else is AstroTurf with low maintenance. And looking at some of the numbers, which I did look at, there was about 2.5 million. That would be the track and the field. What I didn't know that was brought to my attention is there's more land that the school owns behind, like the football field, the track, where the baseball field is behind there. There's land that's never been cleared, ever, and so it's full of trees, forest. If that got cleared, you could have 2 or 3 soccer fields down there. It's huge. I don't know what the acres amount is. I'm still looking into that, researching that. But if we did like some type of trade, like, if you take the elementary school debt, and then we try to find a band or something for the, say, $2.5 million to get the track and football field done, and we'll take care of that. You know what I mean? That'll be out the town's loan. Why can't we do some recommendation like that? I think that would be fair across the board, because again, it's imperative that we all work together for the same commonality. And I think the track is important. I think they can't even run track down there. The track it's condemned. It's not safe.
Yeah, it doesn't meet that.
It doesn't meet anything. It does. I wouldn't bring my kids down there, not to mention run a track thing down there. So it's really important that we do this. And I think there's enough room at the top, like where the stands are, to, put the field in and have a track go around, the football field, like Gardner has. There's enough land to do that. It's just gonna take, recommendations from all parties involved to make these recommendations to go forward to the school and the school committee and Dr. Kazran's office and the select board to make, help us with the challenges ahead of us. So for instance, if they can do something with like the school debt, and we can come up with a $2.5 million band or bond or loan, I think that would be across the board. I think that would work. We'll have to figure out the numbers and the percentages and all that stuff and the yields, but at the end of the day, that's working together. That's collaboration, from my perspective. Thoughts?
I guess the point I like to raise is at some point we should write a letter. Maybe it's a little bit too soon.
Okay.
So when we get an actual number or are close to doing that, I still think we should send, Mr. Kazaker a letter.
Okay. I'll,
You know, that way it's something on record, the public record for everybody to see that.
we did that, okay. All right, when we can sit down together next week or two, we can draft that. together. We can do that. All right, so I'll work on the numbers as far as the field construction numbers to get a ballpark number. It won't be exact because, everything changes with the ebb and
It's
flow.
cool. It's depending on what grade field you want.
Right.
Then the costs are
It's yeah,
flexible. You also have to look at the cost of maintenance too. There's
Right.
special equipment that goes with a turf field
right.
that we don't possess, that we would have to purchase, that would have to be part of the overall process.
That's right. That's right. Which would be a lot. Even with that, it still would be, because what they do now. Down there is, I mean, I don't know how they maintain that field the way they do. I don't, I mean. Yeah, it's more expensive what they're doing now than if we had a turf field. That's all.
Oh, yeah, the maintenance definitely comes down.
Yeah.
The initial cost investment is substantial.
Right.
But in the long term, the cost of maintenance drops way
I
off.
mean, but you got field hockey down there, I mean, huge divots, which they somehow have to replace because when the football field goes out of play or soccer goes out of play. If there's a divot in the ground and someone breaks their ankle, it's more of a liability.
No difference on a turf.
No, there's no divots on turf.
You just have to keep putting the substrate down and.
Right, the black stuff, the rubber, yeah,
And it gets brushed, it brushes it in.
right,
It's like a sweeper.
exactly, yeah. I think I can ride one of those. You could do that. You could ride one.
Water boy.
Water boy.
Amanda playing football.
Excellent. Do I have any questions? Anybody say any questions?
Bob May.
What was the comment?
He's claiming that you don't research anything. Asking us to check chapter 74-7.
Mhm.
Which has not followed. Carryover from 2023 to 3,600, yet supposedly 7,416 balance. He brings up the number 148,000.
$148 for what?
He did not specify.
Okay. Is there any way you can save those questions?
Yes, they are. These are comments on our YouTube stream and they will remain in place after the stream.
Excellent. I don't want to pull those questions off, so I can make sure I get the right answers to them. Excellent, thank you. Anything else?
He's going to be at the meeting on the 7th.
Excellent. Awesome. All right. Well, any other questions or member comments? Mike, any comments?
No.
No, any comments?
No.
The only comment I have is, there is still boards, committees, commissions that the Templeton has that need residents to come forward, volunteer their time, to help this community grow. There's so many, I'm not even gonna mention them all, there's so many open, that's not even funny. But we cannot do we can't do the work that what we need to do without the people helping us. In fact, like I said, Mike's last meeting should be the 7th of November. After that, this advisory committee has no forum at all. So we will be pretty much dead in the water come November 8th, when I get the resignation letter from Mike Uva. So please, I implore you, you know, comments, questions, I mean, please just come and be part of the process. Because I mean, it's not easy. And we do this for no pay. We use our own time, and we all have families. I have little kids too. And I just think it's important that we all take part and do what we need to do for the community. And that's all I have to say. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion of a second.
Second.
Have a motion of a second. Any other discussion? See none? Mike?